What if Saitama were in Dragon Ball Z? Would the bald guy with the white cape be defeated by any Dragon Ball villain like Frieza, Cell, or Majin Buu? What about Saitama? He is a being without a limiter, meaning there are no limits to his power. What changes would he make to the story of Dragon Ball? I have to say that this story is much darker than you might imagine. After all, his presence would bring about major changes like the death of several important characters. Look, in a fight against a god-level monster, the Hero Association was struggling until Saitama arrived, who easily defeated the monster. However, after his victory, a dimensional rift pulls him in, causing our hero to be transported to the Dragon Ball universe. When the rift opens with devastating lightning, Saitama lands on the ground confused but without time to get lost in thought. A battle is happening around him. The fight between Goku and Piccolo against Raditz is intense. However, who is the enemy and who is the ally? Saitama, who is used to defeating monsters, would soon mistake Piccolo for a monster and go to attack the Namekian, crushing him with a single punch. Saitama, with a smile on his face, says, "I saved the day once again," until he sees Goku's shocked face and hears Raditz's laughter. Goku warns him, saying that if he wants to help, he has to defeat Raditz, the Saiyan who was sent to conquer Earth. Piccolo was an important ally and his end shakes Goku, but it also impresses him since he was blown up with a single punch by Saitama. Our hero in the white cape apologizes a million times, then he charges at Raditz with a movement so fast it scares the Saiyan and finishes him off with a single punch. Before dying, Raditz warns that other very powerful Saiyans are on their way and this time Saitama won't be able to stop them. You may have noticed that Saitama has no mercy when it comes to monsters or aliens, unlike when he faces human enemies whom he spares at all costs. That's the case with Sonic Speed of Light, among others, and I don't know if you understood what's happening here, but huge changes have taken place. First, Piccolo died instead of Goku, which means the Saiyan from Earth wouldn't go train with King Kai and get even stronger, making him able to face the enemies that are coming. This is something that could completely shake the universe, because if Goku doesn't train with King Kai, he'll never learn the Spirit Bomb, his most powerful technique, which he used to save the universe from Majin Buu. And even if you think and believe that the Z Warriors might be able to save the day, Piccolo with the Dragon Ball, you're completely mistaken, since with Piccolo's death, the Dragon Balls are also destroyed. After all, Piccolo has a bond with Kami, the one who sustains the energy of the Dragon Balls, so without Kami alive to sustain the energy, they are destroyed. Now this raises the question, with these changes, what will happen next? Well, before I tell you, I want to take this moment of reflection to ask you to like the video and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell turned on. I need your help to reach the milestone of 200,000 subscribers, so I'm counting on you now. Watch this. After the fight, Goku, with a whirlwind of emotions, approaches Saitama. He was irritated by the death of his ally, impressed by Saitama's strength, and at the same time wondering who the bald guy in the white cape was. The two have a long conversation until they come to a conclusion for all the doubts they had about Saitama as a hero. And wanting to redeem himself for causing Piccolo's death, he will fight against the Saiyans who will arrive on Earth in the meantime. Instead of Piccolo training Gohan, it is Goku who trains him, helping him master his explosive power. Soon when Nappa and Vegeta arrive on Earth, they cause a huge commotion with their Cybermen, facing and defeating several of the warriors. And until the arrival of Saitama and Goku, who were ready for any challenge. However, Goku just watches in astonishment as Saitama defeats the Cybermen in a matter of seconds. Impressed, Nappa decides to fight the hero but is easily subdued, not causing any excitement in the fight against him. Vegeta, on the other hand, laughs, saying that he has found a worthy opponent to fight against the Prince of the Saiyans. See, as much as Vegeta destroyed an entire planet with a simple flick of his finger, Saitama, when he fought Boros under planet-destroying conditions, came out unscathed from an energy wave capable of sweeping the entire surface of the Earth. While Vegeta, on the other hand, needs to dodge attacks like that, Saitama can remain unharmed in the midst of the centers of destruction. Although Vegeta amuses Saitama a little, someone who was looking for a fight where he could let loose, Vegeta is only able to show a few tricks to keep him entertained. Needing to use all his power, Vegeta creates an artificial moon and transforms into Osaru, a giant ape, who gets slapped by Saitama. In desperation, Vegeta unleashes his final attack in Osaru form, which is countered by a serious punch from Saitama, and the force of his punch is so powerful that it knocks out Vegeta. But before he can escape, Kuririn stops him and kills him, this time avenging his friends who died in battle against the Saibamen planted by the Saiyans. This time, Goku doesn't stop him. After all, he wouldn't have participated in the fight against Vegeta and wouldn't understand his feelings as much. Saitama, on the other hand, wouldn't care, seeing Vegeta as a threat to Earth. And this changes the story once again in a very significant way, because without Vegeta's help, many of the enemies that are coming could cause a tremendous problem for our warriors. But at the moment, the focus of our warriors is to go to Namekusei to look for new Dragon Balls, with the goal of reviving the allies who died in the battles against the Saiyans. As we know, when they arrive on the planet, Goku and the others discover that the tyrant Frieza is searching for the Dragon Balls to become immortal. But fear not, Saitama is with our heroes to stop him. But considering his personality, what changes will happen? Look, during the journey, Goku, seeing Saitama's strength in battles, trains under increased gravity on the ship, boosting his own strength even more. Of course, not even coming close to his power in the original timeline. While they search for the Dragon Balls, they discover Frieza's soldiers stealing the balls and they have to fight against them. While Saitama gets lost on Namekusei, searching for the Dragon Balls, Goku and his friends fight against the Ginyu Force. This time, he doesn't have the same ease as before. However, thanks to his training under increased gravity, he becomes strong enough to catch Captain Ginyu's attention and make him appear in battle, putting him in serious trouble. But before Captain Ginyu can finish him off, with no interest at all in using his body swapping technique, he is crushed by a simple punch from Saitama, who saves Goku upon arriving at the scene. This time, Ginyu didn't even get close to thinking about swapping bodies with anyone there. Before he could even think about it, he was blown to pieces by a single punch. With the arrival of Frieza, he fights against Saitama, going through all of his evolutionary transformations until he reaches his most powerful form, in which he would give everything he has to face Saitama. Even though Frieza can destroy planets with a simple touch of his finger, and his speed is astonishing, Saitama defeated Cosmic Garou, who manipulated pure energy, gravity, and space-time. In this fight, Saitama reached and surpassed light speed levels and beyond, dodging interdimensional portals. And as we know, while Saitama easily tanks attacks to the chest that would wipe out the surface of a planet and destroy it, Frieza, even though he can destroy a planet, needs to dodge right away. Frieza's resistance against Saitama's punches, which are literally capable of annihilating such attacks, would be useless. He would be stopped when Saitama got tired of playing around. This time, the planet wouldn't be destroyed, since the Ki waves and powers launched by Frieza would be beaten back by Saitama, not damaging the planet's structure or even reaching its core. However, notice that because of Saitama, Frieza wouldn't even think about killing Kuririn, since he'd be too busy suffering at Saitama's hands. And even if he did kill him, in Goku's current state, almost being finished off by Ginyu, he wouldn't be able to awaken his Super Saiyan transformation. With their goal accomplished, after reviving the Z Warriors, they return to Earth. Goku trains hard to reach Saitama's level and increases his power a bit, but this time, he ends up even further from his original strength. But before we move on to the Android Saga, the warning that Goku would die from a heart disease would never reach the Saiyan, because it was never brought by Trunks, Vegeta's son, who is not an ally of the Z Warriors and is dead, so Trunks would never exist. But what about Frieza and his father, who would invade Earth? Well, they would be eliminated by Saitama. Without the planet Namekusei exploding, the Namekians would make sure that Frieza's remains, which could survive in space and even in pieces, could never be recovered. But Frieza's father would still show up on Earth to seek revenge, or rather, to get beaten up by Saitama. Later on, Goku dies from the heart disease. And then the androids arrive, who can currently only be stopped by Saitama. Dr. Gero and Android 19 didn't even pose a real threat to Saitama, but they warn the Z Warriors that they need to become even stronger. Without Goku, all hopes are placed on his son Gohan, since Saitama could be taken back to his universe at any moment by his friends. That's exactly why Piccolo and Gohan embark on training inside the hyperbolic time chamber, while the next androids haven't appeared yet with this training in the time chamber. Gohan and Piccolo are on another level, able to rival androids 17 and 18, but we must remember the greatest danger that lurks for them. That would be Cell, ready to absorb the androids and become even more powerful. While Piccolo refused to accept Saitama's help, the hero feels desolate and goes shopping at the supermarket sale. Until, on TVs, on the radio, and on big screens all over the city, Cell appears making the announcement for his tournament. Believing he has more advantages over androids 17 and 18 fighting separately, Piccolo and Gohan engage in a battle they cannot win. Even more so fighting one-on-one, with a much lower power scale than in the original timeline, giving Cell the opportunity to catch the androids off guard and separated, absorbing them one after the other. Without at least Super Saiyan, Gohan doesn't stand a chance against the androids, who have already beaten up Super Saiyan Vegeta and his own future self, alongside Trunks. With everyone lost in the Cell tournament and no warrior strong enough to fight him, Saitama appears, being mocked and ridiculed by Cell. The battle begins, and it's surprising considering the size and power of the bald guy in the white cape who was so underestimated. According to the anime, the battle between Cell and Gohan was powerful enough to shake the entire universe. Meanwhile, in the fight between Saitama and Cosmic Garou, Saitama's punches were powerful enough to push away. And realizing that he couldn't defeat Saitama, he prepares a Kamehameha coming from the skies capable of destroying the earth. Saitama, on the other hand, as we know, decides to use his famous serious punch, which cuts Cell's Kamehameha in half and finally pierces his chest with a punch. This punch, however, although it has an effect, doesn't prove to be effective in defeating Cell due to his almost infinite regeneration. The solution is to shatter his body, making him explode until there's nothing left. That's exactly why Saitama delivers a super mega serious punch that blows Cell's body up to his very last cell. After reviving those who were killed by the androids and Cell, peace finally seems to have arrived. However, Majin Buu is still yet to come. Without Goku and Vegeta, things could get complicated for Saitama and the Z Warriors. Look, Babidi, sensitive to the energy of Saitama and the Z Warriors, tries to control the energy of the universe to awaken Majin Buu. When he succeeds, Majin Buu goes through cities and villages, causing mass destruction. The Z Warriors try to face him, but they are not successful. When Saitama finally shows up, his punches seem to sink into Majin Buu's body. He realizes he needs something more powerful to defeat him. Then with a super punch, he throws the powerful Majin Buu miles away, which makes him think it's over. But he was wrong. Buu doesn't want to suffer the same humiliation and wants to be free from Babidi's control, killing the sorcerer and his subordinate Bora. In this fit of rage, he releases Evil Buu, a frightening, dark and skinny figure who absorbs him and becomes the Majin Buu that everyone starts to fear. When they find out about him, Gohan and Piccolo, along with the Z Warriors, try to stop him, but they are absorbed by him, making him even stronger as he seeks his revenge against Saitama. This time, the battle between Saitama and Majin Buu is tremendous. Buu's surreal speed and strength put Saitama in a state of ecstasy, finally allowing him to let loose. After a long time fighting seriously, but the fight doesn't last long because in the end, his first punch. Totally excited, at full strength, Buu explodes in his hand, causing him enormous frustration. Once again with the Dragon Balls, resurrecting those whom Buu killed. After Saitama finally returns to his universe, being brought back by the technology developed by the Hero Association with the help of Blast, the #1 hero, Saitama can finally get back to his video game. And this story comes to an end. Who could have imagined that with small details, great things would happen in the story of Dragon Ball, right? Comment down below what could have been different. I'll be waiting for you in this video here. I guarantee you won't regret it until then, otaku.